The Galactic Academy's training grounds sprawled across 3 kilometers of artificial terrain, designed to test the limits of every species in the coalition. Today, the obstacle course hummed with activity as cadets from 17 different worlds competed in the quarterly assessment. Among them, Rhea moved with a peculiar grace that set her apart. Not the fluid motion of the Sylvari, nor the calculated precision of the Zenthi, but something more adaptable. She was human, the newest species to join the Galactic Coalition, and still something of a curiosity to her peers. "Watch the human stumble," chittered Vex, a 4-armed Krillian, as Rhea approached the vertical climb. The comment drew scattered laughs from nearby cadets. Rhea ignored them, focusing on the 70-degree incline before her. Her fingers found holds that others had missed, and she scaled the wall with a persistence that seemed almost stubborn. She wasn't the fastest. That honor went to the insectoid species with their natural climbing appendages. But she didn't quit, and she didn't fall. At the top, she paused to catch her breath, her chest heaving in that inefficient way mammalian species breathed. That's when she heard it. A sound that didn't belong. Beneath the usual cacophony of training, the shouts of instructors, the hum of equipment, the thud of boots on metal, there was something else. Something small, something afraid. Rhea's head turned sharply toward the equipment storage area, her predator's eyes focusing with unnerving precision. The other cadets had already moved on to the next station, but she remained still, listening. There it was again. A whimper. She descended the wall faster than she'd climbed it, dropping the last 3 meters and landing in a crouch that would have shattered the legs of most species. Her instructors had long since stopped being surprised by humanity's bizarre skeletal resilience. "Cadet Rhea, you're falling behind," barked Instructor Thal, his translator struggling with his native Kroner growls. "Permission to investigate a potential situation, sir," Rhea called back, already moving toward the storage area. Thal's 6 eyes narrowed, but he gestured his approval. Humans had proven to have excellent instincts for trouble, even if they had a disturbing tendency to run toward it rather than away. Rhea found him wedged between 2 cargo containers, small and trembling. Kor was barely 3 months old by Kroner standards, a predator cub with midnight fur and eyes that glowed amber in the dim light. His mother was Thal, the very instructor who just granted her permission to investigate. But Kor wasn't supposed to be here. The Academy's nursery was on the other side of the facility. "Hey there, little one," Rhea whispered, lowering herself to appear less threatening. Her voice carried that strange human quality, soft, melodic, completely at odds with her species' classification as persistence predators. Kor's lips pulled back, revealing needle-sharp teeth. A warning growl rumbled from his chest, the same sound that would send prey species fleeing on his homeworld. Rhea didn't flee. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she sat down cross-legged and waited. This was the moment that would become legend in the Academy archives. This was the moment that 3 dozen cadets, having completed their station rotations, rounded the corner to find a human and a Kroner cub locked in a staring contest. "Someone get Instructor Thal," hissed a Sylvari cadet, her bioluminescent skin flickering with alarm. But no one moved, because what happened next defied every instinct they'd been taught about predator species. Kor's growl intensified, his small body vibrating with the effort. He was trying to be fierce, trying to be the apex predator his species was known to be. But he was also terrified, lost, and looking for his father. Rhea responded with a sound no one expected. She growled back. Not a human scream or shout. Not words of comfort and standard. A growl deep, resonant, and perfectly modulated to match the cub's frequency. It was the sound of a fellow predator acknowledging another, showing neither dominance nor submission, but something the other species couldn't quite understand. Equality. The training grounds fell silent. Every cadet stopped moving, stopped breathing. Even the automated equipment seemed to pause in recognition of this unprecedented moment. Kor's growl faltered. His amber eyes widened. Rhea growled again, softer this time, and then did something that made the watching cadets gasp in collective horror. She extended her hand, her soft, clawless, ridiculously vulnerable hand toward the cub. "It's okay," she murmured, her voice barely audible. "You're safe. Let's find your dad." For a heartbeat, nothing happened. The universe held its breath. Then Kor moved, not to attack, not to flee, but forward. He pressed his small, furry head against Rhea's palm and began to purr a sound Kroner cubs only made when they felt completely secure. "By the void someone whispered. Instructor Thal arrived at a dead run, his massive form causing the ground to shake. He stopped short at the scene before him. His son, his precious cub who'd wandered off during a moment of distraction, contentedly curled against the human cadet. Core! The relief in his voice transcended species barriers. Rhea looked up, her face calm. He got scared, sir. Just needed someone to tell him it was all right. As Thal gathered his son, checking him over with the frantic care of any parent, the other cadets began to understand something their textbooks hadn't taught them. Humans weren't just persistence predators who could run their prey to exhaustion. They weren't just the strange species that had somehow survived on a death world that tried to kill them with everything from its weather to its wildlife. They were pack animals. Social predators who'd evolved to understand, to empathize, to communicate across barriers that seemed insurmountable. Vex approached slowly, his forearms held in a gesture of respect. How did you know to do that? The growling. Rhea shrugged, watching as Thal carried Core away, the cub looking back at her with sleepy contentment. On Earth, we have animals called dogs. We domesticated them thousands of years ago, but before that, they were wolves pack hunters, like us. We learned to speak each other's language, she smiled. I guess we just never stopped learning. That evening, the story spread through the academy like wildfire. The human who'd stared down a predator cub and won not through dominance or force, but through understanding. The cadet who'd responded to a growl with a growl and turned threat into trust. In the grand archives of the Galactic Coalition, there were countless records of humanity's achievements, their technological innovations, their military victories, their artistic contributions. But among the cadets of that generation, one story stood above the rest. The story of Rhea and Core, the story of a growl that halted the cadets in their tracks and taught them what humanity truly meant in the vast darkness of space. Not conquerors, not warriors, not even explorers, but bridges. Between species, between understanding, between the growl of fear and the purr of trust. And that, perhaps, was humanity's greatest strength of all.